Greetings viewers, and thanks for joining me out in the shop today. It's time to start putting some wiring in this Tacoma project. I know that's what everybody's been waiting on. It's what I've been waiting on. At least I think that's what you've been waiting on. I'm pretty excited to get started with it and see how it goes. I think the first part should go pretty easy. Like I said, on the engine install I had to stop because there was a lot of things that needed wiring put in first. So without any further ado, let's go grab that harness out of the back of the truck. Let's lay this out and get into this, shall we? All right, now just a quick recap. This goes through the firewall on the driver's side, and these plug into the back of the fuse box. There's my electric box that'll fit on the driver's fender, come around, headlight wires, horn wires, parking light and turn signal wires, back around here on this harness to the ABS stuff that does not apply here, and then into the computer. That computer, yeah, I'm sure does more than just the ABS, but the ABS is the only main thing sticking out there. Now, there's my wires for my fuse box. When I come in the firewall, this will go to my fuse box. This is under the steering wheel stuff. These are some of the wires that did power windows, power locks, tailgate hatch, shit like that on the 4Runner. Come on across, this is your center stack stuff, ABS module, things that would have been in the console on the 4Runner that are in the middle of the dash on the Tacoma. Coming on around, this is where my computer wires and stuff will plug in. That is where it'll go back through the firewall on the passenger side. And then these are the things that do like my cruise control and wipers and such, and ABS plug, I think. So let's get started. All right, I got a feeling for the majority of this, it's going to be a little hard to see. I am going to have to loosen this evap box back up and scooch it out of the way so I can get my wires in. That's not a big deal, and I'm not surprised I had to do that. I thought I might, but that's okay. It can all still stay hooked up and just scooch out of the way a little bit. In addition to this, I also have the hood release cable that needs to go through here. The Indiana weather, man, I started out chilly this morning. I'm already too warm. I unhooked that off because of the dash too, so don't confuse your under the hood side to your under the dash side. Even though they look really similar, but you got your little piece here that goes in your rubber grommet. So, you should run this through from what would be the inside of your plug through your little rubber goodie here. Like I say, this is all going to be right as it can possibly be and look like it was born in this spot. I'm going to go ahead and fish this part here through the hole in the firewall that's down here in the corner. Pretty obvious, the only hole big enough to take all of this. Well, that actually didn't go as bad as I thought it might, but that's really exciting because now I have inside wires and I'm working on outside wires. I can remount this evap canister at this point. Before I move any further forward, I'm going to fish my hood latch cable back through all of its little clips under here to its spot at the hood latch. All right, now next thing, I mount my fuse box. There are wires here that came off this harness that goes down to the bottom of the engine where your ground wire is, so that clips in there. Yay! Oh, this is exciting and awesome to get this thing going, I tell you. This wire here is the one that runs up into the fuse box. It fits up through this little slot in the side. Ordinarily, you'd have to remove that little clip to make that work, but that's not being a problem on this one. Now, I labeled that fuse box so I knew which one went where when I come back to this. This one goes to your positive side on your battery. This one is your battery ground. All right. One less thing, right? Okay, this will mount. All the same positions are there for that to mount. Let me grab some 10s. 10s, some are longer than the others. Some go in different places than the other. They all fit. It don't really matter. You don't have to like label which one went to the fuse box and which one didn't. But you can if you want to. Whatever. Makes your boat float, just tickles the shit out of me. Alright. Hot damn, every piece that goes in just making my smile bigger here. This also goes to your positive, which will bolt on right there. This is your ground, and it needs to ground to this fender right here. Another 10 does that trick. That's freaking awesome. I'm moving right along. All right, now I tore ground, one of the things on my list right here that went here out of this main harness, so I had to go through and fix that. I didn't show you that. It was just as simple as cutting the tape off, finding the broke wire, and splicing the piece I saved back on. Now, also, I think this was for the DRLs, the daytime running lights. I'll get to that, and if I can't figure it out, I'll trace the wire color and find out exactly what it goes to. You got your two four-wheel drive solenoid switches down here that plug in, one blue one, one brown one with color coordinated caps on them. So that's everything so far from out here. On this, I was kind of vague when I was showing this install. This port here goes to the breather. This one went down and follows along, goes to the one that just ends in your frame. That's a vent. Your little rubber piece here goes on with this that all came together. That's the one that goes right there. This one here, this the one on the bottom, that's the one that goes from the tank. This comes up from the fuel tank and it goes to this port right over here. So if you missed any of that, that's how all that stuff went together. All right, yeah, and then this mess here that comes, it's supposed to be stuck to the side here. That's the part that runs back over and goes to this top port on your engine. Yeah, so if you missed that, now like I said, I think that's daytime running lights. I got the four-wheel drive hooked up. Time to continue on here and put you back up here to watch. I think next thing to come out. Oh, and actually I did get those clips to line up. I was talking about the wire clips. I kind of had them in the wrong position, so they have been lining up. Extension cord is not part of this. All right, then up through here, we've got the wires that come out for the turn signal and the parking light, and they clip right back in, right underneath there, just like before. And then this one runs around behind that and clips right there. So this is your side marker light. This is your turn signal in the bumper. Pretty exciting that they're going back in their spots. The headlight plug, of course, is on this. I'm going to go ahead and plug that headlight in because the more things plugged in, the bigger my cheesy grin is getting. I'm going to start running this across the front here real quick. Move you around. Maybe over here might be the best bet. I'm going to run this on over here. Try not to be in your way too much. Some of this is going to be a little different than what was on the Tacoma, or the 4Runner maybe had some things that the Tacoma didn't have. There's my clippy spot. I'm missing one, missing two, that's okay. Where's that wire go? We'll figure that out. I like that these are going back in their right places. And this is a horn wire here. Let's go back here, behind here. We got another plug exactly like the one on the other side, so clearly it's a matching thing on either side. That could be where the airbag's plugged in. All right, man, I am excited. These all went to the ABS. I got a ground that goes up over here. And this stuff needs to go under the cruise control box here. Put it behind here because there's no provision for it on the fender over here. Go ahead and shove this one through. So that one will go to the computer also. I'm going to have to shove two batches of wires through that hole. So these two and be my lights and the side light and the turn signal again. So wish I had the plugs. These are ABS. I checked them off of my 3rd gen over here. There's another harness that comes across or comes out from the Firewall over here, so that'll have my wiper plug in it. That'll have my washer plug. I'll need to graft together this one because I know it'll be different because it doesn't have doubles. This is all ABS stuff right here, all 4 of these plugs. And that is things that won't be needed as we move along here. Got my ground up there. I'm gonna grab the other half of that interior harness and shove it out here just so I can get this under the hood part wrapped up. All right, well, I'm pretty happy to drag this part back in. That took a lot of stuff out of the truck bed. I'm gonna try and focus or funnel this in the way it would kind of go. I'm gonna lay this all across as it goes across. All I want right now is the part that comes back through the Firewall. It's certainly kind of a bear to force all these wires through when they just got a bunch of plugs and they want to go every which direction, but it ain't that bad. I'm going to cut that rubber boot off of there because that's just going to be in my way. It doesn't fit the hole like the other one does, so I will just poke a hole in the other one and force these wires through it. Pulling that rubber grommet through. We force that in from the other side here. It's going to require a little bit of surgery. All right. You can kind of see there where it comes, oh, well, you can't either. You can kind of see there where I forced that through. I just slit that other grommet and pushed that one through since it needs to come all the way through. I could probably pull it through a little further. All right, we'll move to the inside here in a minute. Yeah, so still got to graft these together. This one went to the high pressure switch on the AC, which I do not see here, and I don't see a switch like the 4Runner had anywhere, so I don't know what kind of problem that might cause. Is my cruise. It will go underneath and up and around. Push that all the way on and put your little lever down to clip it in tight into place. So the wipers and washers both need to be rewired. Not bad. Got them here. Got it written down up there. Well, okay, from what I can tell, of course, there's my wiper. That one's the one that needs grafted together. This went to a plug under here that's a buzzer on it, and I don't have that on here, so I won't have that one to plug in. This one will meet. I'm gonna get these out of my damn way here once and for all, these ABS wires. They're getting on my nerves. Okay, I got a place for that clip, and I got a place for this clip. Zip tie those ABS lines all together and get them out of my face. All right, now I can't splice this one back together yet because I got two washers here. I got to find out which one's hot when I hit the washers. But I'm going to keep this plug right up here with it. I want to put the air box back in and hook up a few more things that are associated with that. Try to get everything under the hood as hooked up as possible. Hopefully this will fit right back in the same place it came out on the other truck. You got your big U-shaped one here that goes back on that big tube. Is this gonna line up? Hey, it does. All right, let me grab a 12 and fasten that down. It's gonna make it hard to get to that wire, but I can reach it, so I'm not. Hey, that needs an air filter. Put that on the list. All right, see, it's the dumb shit like that air box, man, fighting me that makes things take for frickin' ever. But I'm gonna move beyond that. Oh, that's frustrating. That thing just wanted to fight and fight. Now this big hose goes over to the air box on the other side there. Or the, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the evap canister. So that's where that one goes, runs all the way across over to the breather. Or air box, I keep wanting to say it's a breather, it's an air box on these, I guess. This is your other one that goes to your power steering vacuum advance under here. Again, I labeled them where they went so I'd be sure and get them back in the same place. You got a clip here for all your hoses. Hopefully it'll work. There it goes. Clip that one. Then you got one more here that goes on your air box up here. Yeah, I still got my PCV valve to replace. The hose came in for it, but my PCV valve hasn't. I should have just went to a freaking parts store and got one, but ordered it, and for some reason it's taken forever to get here. There's little clips for that wire or for that vacuum line and stuff to keep everything nice and looking factory in here. That's it for the under hood stuff. The modification still needs to be made to my wires for the washers and for the wipers, but otherwise, aside from that, not having a high pressure switch signal here, I don't know if that's going to affect my AC or not. That's yet to be determined, but so far, so good. Just about time to put all this front stuff on. I'll get to that later. We're talking wiring today. Now, I don't really do anything fancy when it comes to splicing wires, but I will show you when I do my wire splices. I'll try to go through and do them all at the same time. Ready to put a battery in if I had everything plugged in inside. Ready to put this through once I get those wires run on the inside. Yeah, I'll show the end of all this at the end of the video because that's kind of a last thing. At the end, that's what I was trying to finish. Hit the wrong button there real quick, but yeah, I'll do all this stuff in the front here. All this outside stuff could go back on in theory right now, but of course I'm going to leave it all off till the end just in case, but it's nice to have all the underhood stuff done. Really stoked about that. It's the end of the day for me, but I'll be back with a fresh start on that interior. You don't even know I was gone. Well, all right, viewers, it is a new day. And everything I told you about this interior harness going out the firewall over here and hooking up to the cruise and washers and wipers still applies. Apparently I enjoy doing things twice instead of doing research first. And this whole harness has to be fished up behind that metal bar, support bar for the steering column, before you send it outside. I didn't notice that until 30 minutes of video and this morning as I nicely smushed it all the way around to the other side. So if you take nothing else from this video, put your harness in from the driver's side first behind the steering column support before you go fishing it through the firewall, but all that stuff still applies. Okay, so I hope that's enough light to at least get this show on the road a second time here. Of course, the basics start from the very far end of everything that pushes through. This area here is not very big, and there's a tab down there. Letting the harness hang out the car, I'm sure it's going to get caught in this jam down here, so just kind of watch for that. I'll see how much of this I can do that maybe you can see. Try not to step on your clips and plugs. I've been scratching some things off of my windshield list, but I've unfortunately added more than I've removed, so that list is still climbing for the time being, but it's some little piddly stuff. PCV valve finally showed up. I got that installed with the new hose. And yeah, if you were watching yesterday, I was out here in shorts and short sleeves because it was 73, and today it's 46. Having not progressed at all, I should say, getting your little bunches like this that drop down, this is what controls your blower motor and stuff. Over on that side, a block of grounds, your power window and door switches, your pigtails that ran to the back. You got to stuff those up first before you try to pull, because trying to drag them through later with all this doesn't really work. 3 hours later. Anyway, holy crap-oly, it's not like every square corner everywhere catches every square plug everywhere, and all this spaghetti bowl mess of wires right here really doesn't want to go up through there, but I'm almost there. I'm to the part here that goes up under the steering column on one side. Then I'm ready to start going and attaching again. Have your patience ready. First big hurdle that I have run into on this is this block right here. It needs to come up through this space to lay on the other side of the steering column. It cannot go like this, but if you pull all these plugs out, you can fish them up through there. So I'm going to take my paint marker and mark them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, give them left and a right, just so I know I get them in the right place again. Okay, seriously, so far the hardest part's been fishing all those little plugs up through. These are, I guess I'll go ahead and start explaining some of it. These are for your cluster, so you know they're in the right place. These plug into the back of the fuse block, which mounts up here into that block. A lot of this isn't going to start making sense until you start putting things where they go. A lot of it, though, looks confusing at the moment. These were your factory plugs that came down to the doors. Those cut wires are part of the VIP security system where they tie on to the other part of the harness. This is the part that goes under the seat and plugs into your VIP security box. This is a brake sensor. These are your wires that you brought in from the first harness in on the, that came in through that hole up there where we run our cable through and all that. So these will plug into a couple of different things under here and some of the back of the fuse box. These go to the back of the fuse box and the fuse box. There's a block of grounds that will need bolted down. The tabs run a different way on the Tacoma, so I'm going to bend them up and zip tie them. I'd already started that as I came across. There's some ductwork laying in the seat over there. Like I say, this will start making sense as soon as you put your first thing up. First thing I'm going to do when I come over here is bolt that block up. Really hope you listen to that part about doing it this way and feeding it up from that side, because man, I tell you, yeah, I was really frustrated when I found out I had done that wrong. Now, holding the camera and doing this just really ain't going to happen, but these will drop down up here like that. This will make more sense as it starts to come together. All of this part here that I've drug over, the part that goes outside, and this part that goes here has to go over and drop in through there. After you drop it behind there like so, you'll see some more of your computer wires are falling into place. This is what goes down the kick panel over here. There's the heater and stuff again. Forcing that back through right now. Once you pull those back through, set them all aside where they go. Stuff those ABS wires back up out of the way. Plug your cruise back in. It's nice to utilize this plug on this harness because it keeps these wires here that come out from the engine compartment. It keeps them up off of the exhaust. Don't forget to plug your mass airflow in, and if you've noticed I haven't put this on yet, it's because I jump around quite a bit and I don't have the transmission and stuff in yet. I'm going to get to that. If you're playing along at home and you want to know why I haven't put that in yet, just wait, it's coming. Like I said, I jump around whatever suits me at the day. So that engine is going to have to lay back as far as it can when I go to put the transmission in. That's why I haven't tightened that up, because it'll try to pull it off, and it usually tries to pull it out there first. So that. Back to the wiring. I'm going to go back around now and try and zip tie it back up to my hooks. Get my ductwork fed back where it goes. Time to bolt the computer on and bring those wires through from the front. I'll show you that. I'm just going to zip tie this up in the places where it goes. I'm not going to show you that. All right, now once I got the harness in, I went ahead and run it back through and hooked up everything. Yeah, I told you that already. When I was hooking it to these fasteners, zip tying it on, I found it easier to start from this side and go over. So that, now I'm going to start putting these things back. You can tell a lot of this went back in the same places. It got the same hooks and fasteners. I'll try and explain what I hook up as I go. But there's all my computer wires all falling in just the right place. I'm going to put this stuff on the side here, and then I'll put the box in there and play with Oswald because he's feeling neglected. Okay, here's where the tricky part's going to start coming in with me using a Forerunner harness. Here is my speaker wire for this door that has no power features. Here are the wires that went to the door, only the front door on the Forerunner. So all I have to do is find the speaker wires and splice them together. No big deal. I'm going to put the box in with the blower motor and stuff so I can hook these up. This little clip here is broken. It broke on both of them, but it's going where it goes. I got the block of grounds. At that little brown wire reattached. Yes, I'm going and looking at my Forerunner for some clues here. These two ran down the door jamb to the back doors and such, as did this one here. So those won't be needed. The mount for this transmission relay here is different, so I have to find a different place to mount it or straighten that bracket up. So far, 3 little things, not a big deal. I need that box back in there before I can move on. Also, one of the reasons I haven't shoved those wires through from the Firewall yet is this box needs to be in place, and those wires come through this little funnel here, or this little track, and they're going to be a bit, more of a pain to put this in. That's why I waited on those. Okay, so a little focus on this area. Remember, and now if you also remember, I left all my nuts and bolts and things down here on the floor, so they're all right here when I need them to go back in. There's a bracket right here you have to put back in. You got to hold your mouth just right to get the order figured out, but it goes in here. Takes a fair amount of cussing to get that frickin' box back in, just like it did to get it out, but it goes. All my computer wires up here, that's going to go next. Just don't forget to hook this white one back up. I don't know how well you can see it, but the end is round. And it just slides over the little tab down here and then pushes into its clip with minimal effort. Hey, there it is. It went in actually. This one clips in down here. Yeah, I still got to put all the bolts in that. Got to put this bracket back on. Going to plug a few more things in here. I know I'm going to have a bunch of extra wires, but it's all going to make perfect sense before it's done. I can certainly see why getting a Tacoma harness would be nice. Not necessary though by any means, in my opinion. While there is going to be some extra stuff and some things like this door jamb buzzer that makes the dome light come on, those are in totally different places, but those are small hurdles to overcome. All right, now over here, got, like I said, my ground block. Got my little bracket put back on. This one runs over to the rheostat that controls your blower speed. This one plugs into your blower. Blower motor plug is different. So I'll either change to that to a 3rd gen blower motor or get that plug spliced too. So 3 things over here already. Got the box all bolted back in all the way around. Going to grab the computer and the wires from the engine, shove those through next. Okay, now I'm going to try to get all this part in here. Well, look at that. 5VZ going back in. There is a little bracket that it clips into back there in the back. And then it meets these little screw tabs down here and fastens up. You got this one that comes over from the top and goes in. Hope I'm not blocking everything. I'm really excited to put clips and plugs into the computer at this point. And of course that one's going to fight me the whole way. It's pretty obvious the ones that go in, they'll have that hole in the middle of them. They'll kind of fall into order as they go. These are the ones that came in from outside. These two here, the gray and the white one, put that in, pull your little lever down and clip it in. This one goes in here. Now these clip to the thing on top of the glove box. Glove box is not in yet. The computer is in and hooked up. I love it, I love it, I love it. I got to find out where that one goes. Went to the ABS. I think there was an ABS module that I have in the back that needs to plug into that. Like I said, these go up there. This plugs in to the airbag if there was a passenger side airbag. I'm just going to solve that problem right now because Slim won't tell me. No airbag on the passenger side, so I can quit worrying about that. Slim, he's in here giving it a QC inspection. So these won't be used because there's no airbag over there. Hook there, that wire part, I put it down behind. It actually goes across the front. Same clip is in place for it there. And all these ones with foam, this harness here around the back goes right alongside this metal track, and then all these wires have to go in behind this so you can gain access to these 2 bolt holes first. So that just kind of falls back behind there and comes out the middle. The yeah, the airbag module fit and plugged in just fine. I've heard stories that you can't swap those around, but looks like you can maybe. So here we got ashtray radio stuff. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to go over all that again. This is the things that went to the center console that are up in the dash. I think the only one is the ECT switch, so I can run that up. This kind of fits in its little spot here. Don't forget that one plug back there has to go up from the bottom. I mentioned that when I was taking it out. I'm going to go and see if I can get this piece of ductwork in next. All right, so that, you really got to slide it down in the back to get it back up on top there, but then it just clips in with its 4 little clips across the windshield there. The next thing I want to do is go under here and put this block back on, mount it back in place, make sure I got plugs for everything I need. Still got to figure out where a couple things go, but again, I don't think I'm going to run into any major issues. That's ABS stuff over there. Well, all right, viewers, I've gotten this far over. Left you off at plugging things in the middle. Got my cluster wires up here. I know they'll work because I'm using the 4Runner cluster. Started to come down here and plug in the steering column. That's where I've run into a major hurdle. Not really, but kind of, sort of. I kept the old column, remember, in case I needed to use it. Well, I do. Every plug and switch on the bottom of this column is different than what's in there. That's why I kept it. No, she ain't getting my Hello Kitty steering wheel cover. That's mine. I'll switch it back over to the gray stuff here, but I'm going to wrap this up for the day. It's all I have time for right now. Few hiccups, but nothing major. I'm ready to roll on. If you enjoy my show and this build, please like my shows. If you're enjoying this build and you're following along, hopefully you subscribed. Please subscribe if you want to see more of my show and my dog and the cat and stuff. Yeah, I would really appreciate it. Check links in the description. It is all free, painless, and easy. I'd much appreciate it. Most of all, appreciate you hanging around. Part 1 of the interior wiring, or wiring period, I guess, part 1. More wiring to come, switch out that steering column, etc., etc. So much more coming up on the show. The destruction of the cheap Suzuki has got to have a change of plans. I was just notified a little while ago our access to the farm field has been denied. So a new venue either needs to be found or we just need to blow this sucker up or something. So that's all going to change. So sorry, come in at the end with that. Like, subscribe, check links. Appreciate you being here with me. Much more to come. Like I said, have a super great day.